Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day that you blessed us with. Thank you, Father, for your goodness and your mercy toward us as a people, as a nation. Thank you for this beautiful weather and the rain you blessed us with, the moderate temperatures. Father, go with us through this meeting that we're having here and help us to do good work for our people. Bless those that are in our audience today and help us, Father, as we travel to our homes. Go with us now and bless us and give us wisdom that we'll make good decisions. Forgive us where we fail. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Roll call.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Stokes.
Here.
Gil England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Bob Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzer.
Here.
Julianne Hope. Here. Bradley Cobb.
Aye.
Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk. Meredith Brayley. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Don Garvin. Chuck Hopkins Jr.
Here.
Tina Glory Jordan. David Thornton.
Present.
Kara Callan Watt. John Masters. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would you like approval of the minutes? Would you like to look at these minutes? So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll go down to the reports. Natural Resources, Angela Druids.
Good afternoon. Angie's out of the office today, so she sent me over here with her information. My name's Laura Adair, and she said the report has been submitted. If you have any questions on that report, I'll try to answer those questions for you. If I don't know the answer, I'll sure get them and bring them back to you.
Do you have any questions for Laura?
I believe at the last resource committee, Councilor Watts had asked for an update on the Saline, and we passed out that report. It's just a simple one-page report on the courthouse and the spring house.
Yes, Kara.
Thank you, Councilman Snell. Do we have an overall time frame for completion of the master project schedule? We've been presented with the master plan, and there seems to be no end in sight to getting this preserved.
On Saline, I'll get with Angie and see if we have a time schedule on that.
Much appreciated. Could you actually email it before the next meeting?
Okay, I'll do.
Thank you.
Councilman Buzzer.
I see on the notes here it says the $50,000 grant. Am I going to receive the grant? So what does that mean, Laura? Does that mean the windows in the rooms are not going to be renovated now at all? Or?
I'm not sure on this project. I haven't been involved on it, but they'll probably find financing other places to try to complete that project.
And a follow-up question, are there any, can you find out if there's any tribal funds allocated to the Sling Courthouse?
Okay, sure will.
And if you could let us know within the next week to 10 days, I would appreciate that, because budget hearings are going to be coming up fairly quick, and I like that answer to that. Thank you.
I sure will.
Any more questions for Laura?
At the last resources meeting, that Councilor Fishinghawk inquired about the airstrip in Adair County. We have not scheduled a meeting for that yet, but they are looking at a comprehensive plan, which will not only include the airstrip, but it will also include the industrial park and several other properties out there in Cherokee. But a meeting has not been scheduled at this time, but you will be informed when that meeting is scheduled.
Tom, do you have a question?
More of a comment that we received a brownfield grant that was like $100,000 and some odd to work on the lead-based paint part. So depending on the condition of the windows and things like that, that will factor into whether they can just be addressed or replaced. And we don't know the extent of that yet.
Okay, thank you.
Chair.
Yep, yes.
And I had a question for Tom. And when will you start on that portion of the lead-based paint? And
It'll be next fiscal year. They're getting the bids on that right now. So it'll be next fiscal year before that's done. But when we get that, we can get that out to you all if you need that.
okay, thank you.
Councilman Buzzer.
Tom, your comment, were you saying that you may be able to use some of that 100 for the windows, depending on the condition? I want to make sure I'm
We got it to address the lead-based paint, I don't know the particulars of it all. It's a brownfield grant. Obviously, if the lead-based paint issues can't be addressed by stripping the lawns, they would be replaced. But again, we have to work with the State Historic Preservation Officer on that through Andy's group too. And so the structural part of it would have to be replaced if the integrity of it couldn't be, the lead-based paint of it couldn't be addressed by just stripping and things like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions for Laura? Thank you, Laura. Well, you should stay where you're at. Construction and facilities, Laura?
I forgot about that part too. All the projects that we've got going are pretty much just ongoing. We're trying to get the Marcoma Gym flooring done by the holiday so we can have the 3-on-3 tournament there. We're working on that part of trying to get it done enough where we can go in there and do that. The rest of the projects are just ongoing. There's nothing new starting up this time.
Yes, Bill.
Tell me about the powwow ground.
The powwow grounds were supposed to be completed last week. The restroom facilities, we're still working on the sewer system part, just getting a mag meter put in, which shouldn't affect the sewer work at all. They're supposed to be done last week, but I was in Texas all week last week, so I don't know what happened here. We will.
Yes. Any more questions, Laura? Thank you. Real estate services, Linda Donaldson.
I believe you have my report too, but I do need to make a correction on the Housing Authority. We worked with the Housing Authority on an easement for a sign company in Rogers County on a 25 square foot of land. That's 50 years instead of I wrote 25 and it's supposed to be 50. And we got $60,000 for the Housing Authority for that easement. And it was paid up front, so there's no collections in the future on it. As to, I think Buell had an interest in one on the Ramona site. We did get that lease on the restricted land to the BIA this week, and they are working on that lease. We've asked that they expedite it as fast as they can because 3 of those lessors are over 70 years old, and we would like to have them have something now instead of wait on it too long. So that's in the works and it's happening. But otherwise, we did want you to know that we did get the Park Hill 45 acres in the trust, so that is trust land now, and it's over there near the Heritage Center.
Linda, on the 22 participant files to transfer title to individuals on paid-off houses, was that the Title VI program, or was that the normal regional health program, or what kind of program was that on?
They really didn't tell us which programs.
Okay.
We got those from the Housing Authority files, and the request was they just gave us the information that they were paid off, and we went to the courthouses to check their title status to be sure that there was no liens or other problems before it was before deeds were prepared.
Okay, so y'all are going to do the title search too?
Yes, we've done the title searches too.
And was that just this month?
It's been over the past 2 months.
2 months, okay. You're not helping with the foreclosures though, right?
No, we're not. We're not. We're only doing the simpler ones, just the deed type situations, and anything else that has problems are going to the Attorney General's office. Anything that has to do with bankruptcies, foreclosures, or any other legal issues that they're having, it goes to the Attorney General's.
And you probably do the certificates?
No, Housing Authority people are still doing the certificates.
Okay. And then give it to you?
Yes, and then they're giving it to us.
Question.
Yes, Councilman President.
Linda, where is the application for the property down here at the junction?
That has been approved by the Muskogee office, has sent to the central office their recommendation for it to go into trust. And that was one of the things that we were needing before they could move forward on it. Central office in D.C. also has the information on the environmental, and at last word we had that their attorney Maria Wiseman was reviewing that for her final okay on it. If they then okay it in D.C., it will be passed back down to Ms. Hannah with their recommendation to okay it for trust, and if that happens, then she would sign off on it.
So it's getting closer then?
It's getting closer, because before we were kind of hung up on the environmental, where they were keeping it down here and wanted it revised, and we got all of those things done, and then we were looking at the situation that she hadn't done her recommendation, and when that happened, we knew that we were moving forward. So right now, we're still checking with them to see what's happening. We don't want to bug them too often, but we are trying to keep track with them.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Linda?
Okay, thank you.
The Roads and Transportation, Michael Rand.
Good afternoon. We'll start with our federally funded, or our projects. First of all, I'll mention Cedar Crest Road and Cedar Crest Bridge. We're still waiting to hear back from the Assistant District Attorney there in Mays County on how we should proceed with the most recent offer we've received from the landowner there along the bridge portion. I think I reported last month that all of the other right-of-way have been acquired with the exception of the one landowner there by the bridge. And he also has a portion of property along the roadway, so there's no way to really separate those two projects out because he's tied in with both of the projects. We have had some requests from another landowner in that area on trying to keep the twin bridges open, the bridges that we're actually replacing with our main bridge. That's kind of been turned over to the county commissioner and the assistant DA there to make that call. That's their bridges right now, it's not ours. Even though we are proposing to come in and improve that area, it's still, that is the commissioner's call, and I think he's relying quite a bit on the assistant district attorney to provide him some advice on that decision. Moving on here into Delaware County, our Daytown Dry Creek project is underway, well underway. They had a lot of problems a couple weeks ago with asphalt. Didn't meet tests. I think they put asphalt down twice and had to rip it back out. But they actually changed plants. They moved from a Veneta plant to a Pryor plant, and things are now under control and going down smoothly, and everything's meeting spec on the asphalt there, and it is moving along. It did hold them up for a little while, but it's moving on now. Want to mention Twin Oaks Bull Hollow while we're talking about Delaware County. Twin Oaks Bull Hollow Road, it's there in the same vicinity. We've got a final set of plans out for review, an inter-office review right now. Once we get that, it will get the reviews all done. We will start coordinating for right-of-way acquisition at that point, so it's not too far out from right-of-way acquisition. Here in Cherokee County, Red Barn Road, progressing, although slow. I think there's about 1.5 miles left on that particular project. The current contract that we have with the construction representative is set to expire in the middle of this month. I did receive a request from him to extend that by an additional 20 days and also a contract increase on some prices. That request has been denied. Not sure where that's going to leave us, but it is set to expire August 14th right now. Rice Woodard Road, probably if you've driven through there, you've probably seen some activities out there. We are moving utilities now on that project. What we're doing on that is moving highline or power poles and power utility poles right now on that. We still have telephone, gas, water, and even a little small bit of cable television that we've got to still yet get moved on that. Hopefully by late summer, fall, we'll have that project under construction. Cookson Road, also here in Cherokee County, that's an overlay project that we've got from the 82, in Cookson, the 82 junction up there. Blue Top Road, also referred to, towards the Sequoia County line. That is underway, 8.5 mile overlay, it's underway and progressing very well on that. Barber Road, also here in Cherokee County, we got some soil reports back just this week, late last week, I apologize, and that's going to aid us in our final design, but the design is nearing final completion, and again that one will also go out to right-of-way shortly. Northeast Fort Gibson here in Cherokee County crosses over into Muskogee County. We're going to be holding a public meeting on that tomorrow night at 6:30 at Norwood Public Schools to kind of introduce a preliminary project design to the public and the community members on that area. The design is not yet final. Try to get community input from them as far as water features or things that they can share with us, so we can incorporate that into the design if needed. And we'll be holding future public meetings on that project once we start getting closer to right-of-way acquisition. I think Honey Hill, still kind of sitting, waiting on, that project has been phased into 2 phases. We're working with utility companies there, trying to get utility plans and get that coordinated with them just to start utility relocations on that. Not much has changed since I've last reported. And on the, don't have any tribally funded projects coming forward to executive finance this month. I haven't received any. So as for now, we don't have any projects going forward. And I do want to mention, though, along those lines with on the tribally funded projects, I did get a request this week from an Adair County Commissioner for the Starkiller Hollow project. He had requested that the original scope be cut from 3.5 miles down to 1.5 miles due to price increase in oil. So I did get that request. He submitted that in writing, and it's most likely to be approved because of it's happening to everybody. Projects are getting cut short or having to add funds to projects to get them completed. So that's just a sign of the times we're in right here. And I believe on the last Executive Finance Committee meeting, there was a project for Cherokee County added to that, and I need to get a road improvement request for that project. I believe it's called the Cherokee County Fairgrounds project. That was added, I believe, on the floor of the meeting, and I don't have anything in my files for that, but I'll get with you guys and we'll get that ironed out. I believe that is all that I have to report. I do have some maps, though, I would like to present. We've got our GIS system up and running, I guess. We're computerized now, and I would like to pass these out if I may, please.
Yes.
Might take me a second, but I don't have them in good order. I'm not going to answer that one. 2 copies in there, I believe. No, he's not here. Okay, so some of the best for last year. Okay, I'll give it to you. Thank you. That is all I have to report. If you guys have any questions on the maps at all, I'll be glad to answer them, or anything I've reported.
Councilman Sullivan?
Michael, we know that the DA is set to make a determination on that Twin Bridges project you were talking about.
Mhm.
Do you have any idea at all if there is a timeline, or how long it might typically take for the DA to make those types of decisions going forward?
Now, okay, the DA, let me make sure I'm understanding. The DA, we're kind of waiting on him on two issues.
Right.
The response back to the landowner as far as whether we
That's
should
been
accept.
submitted for some time now, right? I mean,
Yeah, he's had that for some time.
Right.
In my opinion, too long. We keep calling and asking the commissioner to put it in, and we can't seem to get it off high center. And there's another issue with involving the Twin Bridges, of whether they stay or whether they go.
Right.
That's another issue that the commissioner and the assistant district attorney are working with on that.
Right.
Which
And that's
is-
the one I'm really talking about, is that if you're saying that, I'm just basically looking for a timeline. If we would expect a decision to be made within the next 10 days to 15 days, that might not be expected, or could just go on for 3 months or so, I mean, it seemed like it was pretty simple. I know a lot of people are calling about that project and just checking on the status, because it's kind of been in the queue for a while now. And so, it seems like everybody's pretty confident that it'll go forward. It's just, to be able to communicate at a time, I know we're down to one or two people that want to contribute to the project, I say. So, I'm just curious if you had any idea on the timeline.
I don't really have a good idea, and I hate to even predict a timeline because of everything involved. Both of the decisions that we're waiting on from the district attorney kind of go hand in hand.
Right.
One's going to hinge on the other. So, but I really hate to give a timeline because I just don't know.
Thank you very much.
Council Lady Fulbright?
Have you received the paperwork from Commissioner Huff in Sequoia County? He submitted these forms and everything to me that he had sent to your office, and I've never heard anything about it.
Do you remember a road name?
Well, it was McKenzie Waters Road, and it's in red here on this map, 1 mile, and the other one was, it was just like a number. I've got all of it that he sent me.
I don't recall seeing anything. I do know that I've got a phone message in from Mr. Huff today, maybe regarding that. I don't know.
Well, it was about 3 weeks ago when they sent me duplicates of what they said they had turned into your office, and I never heard anything about it.
And I'll have to find out and see if I can get some information. Those names don't ring a bell to me, but I'll get with Mike and figure out what's going on.
It was a couple of miles.
2 miles worth. Okay.
The limited funds that he had.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll find out and let you know.
Councilman Cobb?
Several things. I just hadn't heard anything, and you and I have been on different pages for a little while. We've been running different directions. Where are we coming from, Wausau? Have you heard anything from them recently?
145th. No, I have not. They had asked to kind of postpone that for a while, and I told them that was fine. I don't know what they had some other projects going or what, but I haven't had any correspondence with them in quite a while. I can call them, verify, and find out what the status of it is.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. Let me find out, and I'll get back with you.
On the essentially the continuation of Durham Road there.
Mhm.
It's northeast of Bartlesville, that kind of out toward Prairie Song. You heard any?
No.
I mean, they've accepted it, and it's just kind of going into, okay.
As far as any work being done up there, I don't know if they've started any base work or ditch clean out or anything. I'll find out about that one
I
as
know there's an
well.
election coming up, the county commissioner in there. And then also, if you I would like for you, the bridge that is finished just west of Ramona, and then we've allocated money for the bridge just to the section line west of that. It's 39 to 60. I was just want to make sure that they built the same type bridge. Because the bridge that's the first section west of Vermont is a very, very nice bridge. And I was just hoping that they did those two bridges the same, but I think we allocated enough money for them to do that.
I think so. The other bridge, not that this should make a difference, but the other bridge was built by a different commissioner. But I can talk to that commissioner, this commissioner in place now. I would assume he could do the same type of work.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Michael?
I've got one.
Mel?
When were these roads completed?
Okay, I was getting ready, I should have explained that when I handed those out. I just kind of threw them at you and didn't say anything. I apologize for that. Those are completed roads. There's a kind of a legend over there on the side. The red's going to be tribally funded roads. The blue is going to be there's not many IRR roads built up there. I don't have one available to me right now, but the other color is going to be Indian Reservation roads or federally funded roads. Those are completed projects. There's a lot of projects we got that aren't shown on that map that are in progress or in various stages of progress. It's, in design or right-of-way acquisition or utility relocation. But I want to show you guys the completed projects within the counties that you represent. And as far as when they were completed, I just at various times since inception of both programs. Is what I don't know if that answers your question. I can give you exact
Some of
dates.
these on here that are completed that were so many years ago, they're worn out.
They're falling apart again.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Because some of these that Mr. Huff was going to redo are some of these that were on here that says completed, but it was completed 15 years ago.
That's probably correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You answered my question.
Okay. But if you want exact dates, I can get that.
Just a database point of reference. I think that IRR road going up to Fall Leaf Stomping Grounds is not on here. That's the only IRR road in all of Washington County.
Now, that's not been completed, but there is an IRR route up there that's not completed. It's just
Okay.
on our system. And that would be shown on a map if we showed all of our system on there.
Which, may I have another question? Which, when you put I always call it Candy Creek Road, it's the road going straight west out of Vermont. You said we're going to put that inventory. Is it in inventory?
It's been submitted. It was submitted in March for it to be placed on our inventory. Yes.
Appreciate it.
Council Lady Glory?
When you say the red is tribally funded, does that include our funds?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how up to date is our map?
Should be pretty well up to date.
So, didn't we overlay 2 inches on Lost City Road? From
Yes.
Culvert to...
Yes. Now that was just recently received, so it may not
It
be
may
on
not
the
be
map.
on there?
May not
Okay,
be on the map.
and then the other county commissioner went from the 4-mile
He did.
corner and hooked up with this road,
Yes,
right?
the same road. Yes, ma'am.
So really, we're from here to here, and we've
All
done
the way to the pegs. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that may not. You're right. That was just recently received by the commissioner. So
Okay, but other than that, it's pretty recent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be within the past 2 months anyway, a month and a half to 2 months.
And the blue is the federal money?
Yes, ma'am.
And the red is our tribal funds?
Tribal funds. Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Gordon?
Michael, on these roads marked in red, there's several of those roads that were chipped and sealed 6-8 years ago. So this map is up to date over the last 8 years.
Yes, sir.
But some of those roads have wore out, and that's what Janelle's talking about. But the ones that were overlaid, they're in pretty good shape. There were several of them we started up chipping and sealing. It doesn't work near as good as those.
Doesn't hold up.
Council Lady Brooke?
Okay, I've got one more question. There's an IRR road that was built 35 years ago on here that's still holding up pretty good. There's 6 miles of it. It's not listed on here anyway.
Okay, if it was built by the Bureau back when the Bureau administered the program, they will not be on there. This is just since the Cherokee Nation had taken over the IRR program, which was back around 94, 95. That's only going to have projects back that far on there. So,
I will talk to you about it later because when I first took office, you had told me you thought that 6 miles was scheduled to be done.
is that going to NICUT?
From Nycut to the Adair County line.
Yes, it is on our schedule right now. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So it's in progress.
We have more questions for Michael? Thank you, Mike, the report.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Environmental Program, Tom Elkins.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. Our report's in front of you. I don't think there's anything outstanding on it, but we do have on our program highlights 100% of our goals in all these programs. And we've had it that way for a few months, so I think we're going to redefine our goals for this next fiscal year somewhat. But the only other thing of significance is in the landfill on F on our highlights. We had a special EPC meeting just this last month just to cover one issue at the landfill. They requested a variance on one of their, I think it was 120-day compliance issue, and that was granted to them an extra 150 days. It wasn't anything controversial. It was reseeding on one part. It really just allowed them to do it better than what they had anticipated to do it. Some of the community people were there, and their opinion was, we'd rather give them a lot longer and let them do it correctly. So there wasn't too much controversy with that. I believe that's it. Do you have any questions?
Councilman Thornton.
Are we still taking, doing water tests on the Illinois River?
Illinois River, yeah, I think we are, yes, sir. We do it at different points, and they change. I don't have those points in front of me right now, so I don't know. I can find out and
Can we get a
tell you
readout
where.
on those tests?
I'm sorry?
Can we receive a readout on those tests?
Sir, I believe somebody probably knows much better off the top of their head than I do,
the data
Would it
on
be-
my laptop if you wanted.
because we just provided that.
Would it be feasible to have a readout below the 10-killer dam on the Illinois River?
May I ask a question myself? Do you know specific? I don't know off the top of my head where that's at. Do you? I can find out and let you know.
Okay.
Where are you particularly talking about?
Along down towards the Gore area. '64 in the Illinois River. Highway 64.
Sure.
in the Illinois River.
Let me check where we're doing. Let me check where we're doing that now, and may I just get back with you on that then?
Okay, appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Councilman Buzzer.
Tom, I've noticed on our radon testing, and I'm just curious, do we ever find any houses that have radon?
Sure.
Is that right?
Yeah, we find quite a bit of them. And the thing of it is, we like to say it has to do with where they're located and how they're built. Doesn't really. We find slab houses that have high radon. We find crawl space, wood floor houses that have radon. It generally depends on where they're built, because radon comes from the decay of uranium, and uranium is omnipresent. It's just in some rocks it's more prevalent than in others. So when that decays, it turns into a gas and migrates up into the air, gets trapped in some of these houses.
So what do you do to fix it?
We tell them how they can fix it. We've worked with the Housing Authority on some issues about addressing that before the houses are built, because yeah, we can go back into a house and find out if it has high radon, but it's generally about 20%, maybe up to a quarter of the cost to fix it up front than it would be to address it afterwards. So if they can do that up front, it usually costs $150, $200. After it costs $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 to address it, just depending on the home.
Okay, thank you.
Council Lady Watts.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, to answer that, we only took data in fiscal year '06,
Yeah.
and there were 2 sites on the Illinois River, and that was it. But the state and the EPA and others take a considerable amount of data on the Illinois River. And so I'm not for sure what Councilman needs, but that'd have to be pulled out of the STORIT database. And the USGS database in order to pull that data together, which I may or may not have right now at this point. So
Generally what we do is pick points that the state doesn't do. And so it's like right now, we're working with USGS on doing a water gauging thing up by Kenwood. And we're doing that because a data gap exists, and they're working with us. They've got some extra federal money, and we can put a little money towards that and get something done. So if we can do partnerships like that, we generally try to do that. So if that data exists, I can get it for you. If it doesn't exist and we can do that, we'll do that.
Councilman Thornton?
There was a report that was put out on those tests and told primarily what was the problem. And I'd like for you, if you can do it, find that report.
Do you know when that was done? I mean, generally, you know, we find a lot of poor water with...
I've got a room stacked full of papers.
Yeah.
And it's in there somewhere.
Sure.
But
I can generally
I
find
could
out.
probably find it, and it'd take me a long time.
I can do that. I could probably find that. Or Cherokee. Probably in just a few minutes.
I'd like for this council to have that report.
Sure, sure. I'll look for that and do that.
If any of them are interested in it.
Sir.
I have more questions for Mr. Elkins. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Report. We'll move down to old business. Linda, we have this resolution. You want to...
Yes, this was a resolution for authorizing a grant of easement for right-of-way over and across a USAN trust land for the Cherokee Nation located in Delaware County. This was known as Kenwood Tribal Unit 24. As we stated last time, this is for a person that is trying to sell a tract of land that is sort of landlocked behind us, and they're wanting access in order to get to it so that they can sell it to someone else. And we brought it here because they made requests, and we just want to let it be up to the council to decide whether to authorize it or not.
Yes, Watts.
Mr. Chairman, and I don't know who can answer this. So they have no other access to this property?
Well, that's the way it appears. Harley went out to it and visited the property.
Yes, sir.
Chair, let me explain a little bit about this. I think I brought this up at the last meeting, that I did go look at it, and I talked to Pat Gwynn over Natural Resources. And what he's telling me, there is an access to get to it, but they have to open up the section line to get to this piece of property. I more or less left it up to the administration, to the expert people to look at property to acquire, and he hadn't made a recommendation either way. Now, what's happening, this land is joined by Cherokee Nation property on 3 different sides. So I'm not going to object to it if they want to give an easement to go to this property. If we can't find any use for that property, then I'm not going to object to not giving them an easement to it. I think we have people hard at the nation to make those determinations for us and make recommendations, and they don't have any other than what he's told me. So I'm not going to object to giving the person an easement to the property, although I'm not going to make a recommendation that we do.
Yes, Councilman Watts.
Mr. Chair, I know that normally you wouldn't, but I'd like to hear from you as well about the easement, since it's also your district.
Well, I think like Harley, you know, they got no way to it. We may need to give them one, but then the county can open up an easement as we can.
Just to be clear, what's on that piece of property? Is there a house there? Is it just...
There's nothing on that piece of property. I think it's like 20 acres, and from what I understand, that Pat Gwynn told me, there's 3 to 5 acres that is probably make a building spot. The rest of it is hills and hollows. My concern was that we have people that goes in there and camps during hunting season, and we know what they're doing. They're camping there on the 20 acres, and then they're using the other tribal properties to hunt on. From what I've been told, that you know, they leave their trash and they leave everything else out there. And I thought it was probably a good idea for the nation to buy that property to square us up there, but I've left that to the experts here at the Cherokee Nation to make those recommendations, and I've got one today.
Mr. Chair, if I may, second.
Yes.
I don't know if Michael's still here. I was going to ask him the same question. Has there ever been a case where we've granted easements and we've taken that easement back. I mean, I guess my ultimate point is, you grant an easement, what's involved in coming back later down the road and saying, well, we don't want to grant it anymore?
Most generally, once you grant it, you can ask for a revocation of it under certain criteria.
Can you give me an example of some of those criteria?
Like you might grant it for a home site and not for a development site or some such thing like that. You can even grant it for
At the time of granting, you have to grant it for specific.
Yeah, right. You need to put it in your document as to what type of situations that you're going to, that it would revert back to the nation and no longer be an easement for them. You can even have it as, like we've got one here that we're going to present, that we're asking for a life estate, so that when the person passes away, the easement is over. Or you can even make them as, they don't have to be perpetual, they can be for a certain term.
I'm wanting a little more information on what this property is going to be used for before I can support this. I can tell you that right now. Thank you.
Move to table permanently.
Second.
And the motion has been to move to table it permanently. We'll have a discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We'll move on to new business. Mr. Donaldson, you want this, on the new business, the resolution that Three Rivers at Muskogee?
Yes, we're asking that we be allowed to go forward with a trust acquisition on the Three Rivers Health Center in Muskogee.
Move for approval.
Second. Mr. Garber?
That was too slow, wasn't it? I have a couple of questions. If we go through with this, how long would it take? And also I have a follow-up question.
It takes a while. I think as you've seen on most of our trust acquisitions, they do take a while to get through. But one of the reasons why we'd like to go ahead with an authorization on this at this time is because they are putting a tax situation on us in Muskogee on that it's about $250,000 a year in taxes. And of course, we are working with the Attorney General's office to try to get them to give us a exemption on taxes on that building. But to have it before them that we are working on a trust acquisition would help our situation again.
That was my second question on the taxes, but we are paying tax on it right now.
We haven't yet, but they're asking for it.
They're asking. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Call for the question. Hold on, we're at here.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item 2, Linda, you want to take that one too?
The next one is a resolution where we're requesting authorization of the leasing of the minerals at Chilocco and Kay County. As you know, we own 100% of the fee-owned minerals, and we own 50% of the trust minerals of all the tracts, not only ours, but 5 other tribes' properties. And we're working with the other 5 tribes to try to lease this minerals to a company, and so we want to move forward with
Second.
Any discussion?
We had a wonderful tour of Chilocco a couple of weeks ago, I guess now, and Mr. Buzzard was kind of the sponsor, and it's quite a sight. If you've never seen it, you need to go look at it. we really need to do some work up there, manual and otherwise. But let's see that we get some money on it.
And we're hoping that if we get this leased for a good amount, even on the seismics, we're looking at least $10 an acre on the seismic, and we're talking about 80,000 acres, well, 8,000 square acres is basically what it is. At $10 an acre, that's a good chunk of money that would be divided between us and the other tribes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Cobb.
Which brings me to a couple questions. What are we going to do with that money? Is it going to be put back into Chilocco, or is there anything that says we have to put it back into Chilocco?
There is nothing that says what you have to do with it. So the money, when we get our share of the money, it's ours to do with as we please.
Do you have any, living really close to Osage County, I'm real familiar with a lot of saltwater issues.
Mm-hmm.
Are you any inkling on the lease of the minerals who and what they plan to do, or they haven't done any seismic stuff yet?
What they're wanting to do once we get this arranged with all the tribes is to start a seismic and do a 3D. And once they have the 3D seismic, they're wanting to, the proposal is to lease it in quarter sections. And you know what they're going to do. They're going to look at the seismic and say, this looks like the most likely place, and then they're going to lease that spot and then move to the next. And what they had, one of the representatives had said that they would be looking at possibly 15 to 30 wells a year, if depending on what the seismic is showing. And we're looking at least 18 or more % is what we're looking for.
Say the last statement again. How much? 18?
We'd like to have 18 or more %.
Thank you.
More discussion? We have a motion.
Mr. Chair, just for clarification, Linda, you said $10 an acre per lease?
That's $10 an acre just for the seismic.
Oh, okay. So other negotiations will be if they go in and find...
Right, and once the seismic is first, and once that's done, then they'll go into leasing specific tracts. And then we're looking at least $25 an acre for a bonus on whichever tract that we lease at that time. And then if there are, if they put in a well, I believe they were saying $2,400 as damages per well site, and the same for if they put up a tank battery on the land.
And then a percentage of whatever the well produces.
Right. And of course, the damages to the surface and for those tank batteries would be on whichever tribe's land that it goes to.
Okay.
So if they went to the cause, you know, they would get the surface damages.
Thank you.
We have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Racing is slow, buddy.
I know. Let's go, sir.
Number 3, Linda, you got that one too?
Okay, this is a resolution to authorize the grant of a easement for right-of-way over and across trust land. This is in Adair County. It's being a part of CMS Tribal Unit 18B. And this one is a non-tribal member that is wanting to go across, and he does have another way in, but he just wants to use ours because it'd be more convenient to him. I know that this person has been to Senator Colburn and around to different places saying that Cherokee Nation won't give them an easement, but we told them you have to apply for one first. So he's applied for one, and now we've submitted to you to see if you want to go with it. But we do know that he does have another access point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Linda, there's no house back there. There's a possibility that he might build sometime.
He might build, but there's no house now.
And his other access route is through his father's
Right, I
place?
believe so. And I think he hunts out there is one of the reasons why he's wanting this.
Yeah. So it's in my county, but I'm not going to make a motion to approve it. I don't
Move to table permanently.
Second.
Table permanently, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
One opposed. Chris? Motion carries. Chris opposed. Item number 4.
Now, this one is a resolution authorizing grant of easement right away over trust land in Cherokee Nation located in Adair County. And this one is a part of CMS Tribal Unit 69, of which this easement would not interfere with the use of the property that we have. And the reason why we put this on there, and I would recommend this one, is he's a non-tribal member, but this is an old general, and he's about 78 years old. He and his wife are having family problems, and they're just wanting to move to this tract that they bought. They bought it, and they were told they had access, and they found that they didn't. And so they're only going to want to cross about 600 feet of our property to get to their land, and it's only going to be a lifetime easement for the gentleman, or 15 years, whichever comes first.
Second.
A motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Item 5, Councilman Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I brought this up forward. It should be just discussion only, but this has been a long time in coming, and I've talked to some folks about this, and some I haven't had a chance to talk to. I have some amendments I'd like to offer or for consideration, but really I would rather have her make sure everybody's read it and that they work with me to have a more complete piece of legislation come forward at next month's resources. But I know some of the things that I'm looking for is actual decrease in CO2 emissions by a certain year by the tribe through purchase of, as we replace technologies or buy new technologies, both through our fleets, our vehicle fleets, as well as technologies for like heating and air at our facilities. Maybe use of gray water to water, how we can decrease or conserve water consumption. Maybe require minimum EPA ratings for miles per gallon on fleet cars, which is possibly different than emission goals. And then also add a portion to record those energy savings so that when we pursue things such as water rights and other things in the public, that we already have those things well documented so that we can tout that we are better stewards of our environment than the state and others. And so those are the kinds of things that I'm looking for input from this body in order to move it forward at next month's resources meeting. And I know for the sake of time, we're already running late, so I didn't expect anything to happen today, I guess, at this point, so I'll move to table to next resources, please.
Go to announcements.
Do we take a vote?
Vote to table.
All in favor, table?
Aye.
All opposed? Announcements? No announcements, right here, adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chris?
By the way, who made that motion on item number 2?